we were almost enlightened. Do not disturb yourself by picturing your life as a whole. Do not assemble in your mind the many varied troubles which have come to you in the past and will come again in the future, but ask yourself, with regard to every present difficulty, stick with the situation and ask, why is this so unbearable? What is there in this that is unbearable and beyond endurance? You would be ashamed to confess it. Remind yourself that it is not the future or what has passed that afflicts you, but always the present. And the power of this is much diminished if you take it in isolation and call your mind to task if it thinks it cannot stand up to it when taken on its own. If you clicked on this video, there's a good chance something about that question, why is this so unbearable, hit close to home. What might surprise you is that these words were written almost 2,000 years ago by Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history. Emperor of Rome, leader of armies, a man who lived in a time of brutal war, real bloodshed, and constant political pressure. And yet, even he had to talk himself through hard moments. Even he doubted. Even he needed to be reminded not to spiral. And what's beautiful is that he didn't write those words to impress anyone. No, he wrote them for himself. They were from his journal, Meditations, never meant for the public. He wasn't trying to be motivational or profound. He was just trying to survive in his own mind, like you and me. And I want you to notice how he speaks to himself. He's not berating himself. He's not yelling, come on, you're Marcus fucking Aurelius. Pull it together, man. No. He speaks with strength, but also with clarity and compassion. Like a wise friend. Stick with the situation. Ask yourself, what exactly makes this so unbearable? Because that question is everything. If you can stay with it, stay in the sensation that comes up, something inside you starts to open up. See, a situation might feel unbearable for different reasons. Sometimes it's valid. Maybe it clashes with your values, or it's pointing you towards a truth you've been avoiding. In that case, good. The discomfort is actually showing you where to pay attention. But other times, and let's be honest, most of the time, the unbearable feeling is a lie. It's your nervous system trying to keep you safe in ways that no longer serve you. Like how most people don't exercise. Not because they logically think exercise is bad, but because deep down, we're still running on ancient programming. Conserve energy, avoid unnecessary effort. That made sense when we were starving in the wild. That made sense when we didn't have a choice. That was our default mode of operation. If you had a moment to relax, take it. But now? Now it's killing us. Our bodies thrive when they move. But our brain, if unchecked, convinces us that discomfort equals danger, and that is the trap. That is one of the biggest traps that you will go through in your life. So I'll say it again. Our brains convince us that discomfort equals danger, and that is not true, and that is the trap. We have all these outdated circuits firing in the background. Fear, self-doubt, paralysis, perfectionism, and they're loud. And they don't just disappear, they stick around for your whole life. But the way forward isn't to get rid of them, because you can't. It's to see them clearly for what they are, and then act anyway. One of the biggest tricks we fall for is believing that we need to solve our entire life before we can do anything. We think we need a 5-year plan, we think we need to understand every outcome and resolve every past trauma and ensure guaranteed result before we start. But that's just fear wearing a lab coat. Marcus reminds us the only thing that's ever real is the present moment. And the question isn't, can I do this for 10 years? It's, can I do this right now? Can you just sit with what you're feeling? Can you take the next action? Can you lift the weight and send the message and show up to the thing that you committed to, that you decided for yourself is important, that you decided is your virtue? That's all that's ever asked of you. That's all that you should ask of you. See, Sigmund Freud once said, unexpressed emotions never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. And that is exactly what we see in modern life. We all walk around with those screens glued to our faces, and we suppress discomfort with noise and endless scrolling and entertainment and distraction, and we don't let ourselves get bored. We don't let ourselves feel pain. But repression doesn't heal anything. It just displaces it. I promise you, those unfelt emotions, they show up somewhere else. In our relationships, our health, our work, our self-respect. Avoidance is a short-term solution with long-term consequences. So here's the turning point. What if the thing you're avoiding isn't actually that unbearable? What if it's just unfamiliar? What if it only feels unbearable because you're trying to do it with the weight of your entire past and future on your back? What if you paused, took a breath, and just did the thing? Not for life, but just for now. You'd feel the burn, yes, you'd feel the fear, the hesitation, walking up to say hi to that cute girl you walked by down the street. You'd feel the self-doubt, the awkwardness, the emotions from challenging yourself to start this project that you told yourself you would start, or continuing it, or working hard on this thing that you're not sure how it's going to end up. But you wouldn't die. You wouldn't die from it. And in that moment you'd realize, oh, maybe I actually can do this. So if you're still here, if you clicked on this video thinking about some specific situation in your life, I want you to pause, really pause, and ask yourself, why does this feel so unbearable? What exactly is behind that feeling? Is this situation clashing with my values, or just triggering my fear and outdated circuits? Try your best to not lie to yourself, and try not to talk around with it, and just sit with it. Because if Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, needed to remind himself of this, to be present and have the right kind of self-love, have the right kind of self-compassion, to do good things for your future self. If he had to remind himself of those things, so do we.